questions. Then the members will have a chance to the follow-up questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know a number of the questions are almost related. Generic answer would have been say when the money is available, we will do it. But first of all, let me delve into the main question of the remaining question by Honorable Mulungi on the Expressway. Madam Speaker, the traffic status report of the Expressway since inauguration is indicated in the table below, a table that I will provide also when I finally sign and leave my statement before this House. The total number of vehicles recorded which have used the Expressway from the inception until the end of March 2023 was 12,491,403. The breakdown is as follows. From May to June 2022, the total traffic volume is 1,257,019, which is an average of 26,188 per day. 26,188 per day. That was May to June 2022. July to September 2022, there was an average of 34,209 vehicles passing through Expressway, which gives it a total of 3,147,206, Madam Speaker, total traffic volume during that period. From October to December 2022, there was a total of 3.9, which is 3,974,821 vehicles through the Expressway, which gives it an average of 43,205 per day. Currently, in the period between January to March, there have been a total of 4,112,357 vehicles passing through the Expressway, giving it an average of 45,000 per day. There is a steady increase, Madam Speaker, on the number of vehicles that are passing through the Expressway, and a further report will be given in every 3 months as the vehicles pass through that Expressway. We are also currently in the process of reviewing a decision that was made by my predecessor to lock out PSV vehicles through the Expressway, because at that point in time they caused a number of accidents because of overspeeding. And since the measures have been put in place, we are looking at the request that has come to my office to allow the PSV vehicles to pass through the Expressway. The ministry through Kenya has procured for works on Mombasa Road at River Interchange James Kishuru as follows. Madam Speaker, this is the question related to A8 Road, the road below, if you put so, below the Expressway. So the ministry through Kenya has procured for works on Mombasa Road as follows. Periodic maintenance of Nairobi Southern Bypass Interchange, Ole Sereni at River Interchange, A8 Road to Ms. Wolf Paving Works, Kenya Limited, as a contract sum of 1,867,823,673.12. B. Periodic maintenance of James Kishuru Road in Junction, that's Nairobi Southern Bypass Interchange, Ole Sereni, A8 Road to MS Shovels and Trowers Limited, as a contract sum of 1,271,451.26. The rehabilitation works are scheduled to commence on 26th of April 2023 and is anticipated to be completed by 25th of April 2025. Madam Speaker, the approved designs for the Expressway, maybe before I go there, I have also attached to my report the exact works that are going to take place in this very important road, because Kenyans have really asked that the hustlers are using the road below, and those who are capable to pay the Expressway need to be facilitated to be able to pay, Madam Speaker, also pass through the road as like the other users who are able to pay the expressway. The point is that in this road we have construction of walkways, and I think it was Honorable Koskei who had asked about what we are doing. There are construction of walkways, construction of 12 bus bays. There is a new pedestrian underpass at the UON student tunnel. There are a number of box culverts that are being constructed. There is also drainage channels that are being done, protection of works and stone pitching near Kenyatta International Airport. There is drainage improvement, particularly many Kenyans, when they pass Mombasa Road, they complain that it has become like a lake when it rains. It's because some of the places that are blocked, Madam Speaker, Haimara Daima Estate area, and it's being reopened to extending the 3.5 kilometer to discharge to Ngong River along Outer Ring Road. There is also 21 kilometer of pedestrian walkways, and there is also construction of concrete pavement along Mlolongo Auxiliary Lane. So there is a comprehensive work that is going to be done to restore the road, the A8 road, the 27 kilometers, and that work will begin, Madam Speaker, as indicated here, on the 26th of April, which is in a week's time. The contractors must be on site. The works were contracted to 2 different contractors as indicated. The approved design of Expressway, again, this is a very important question. It comes out repeatedly, why Expressway does not have termination or an entry to the city center. And Madam Speaker, the approved designs for Expressway included an exit into the CBD at Haile Selassie roundabout, which could not be constructed at the time of construction as the government could not avail the land required due to pushback from environmental and their important group, the environmental lobbyists, regarding sitting of the exit tolling station in Uhuru Park, and from the management of Kenya Railway Golf Club regarding sitting of the exit tolling station on portion of land within the golf course. To ensure service levels are maintained as agreed by both parties, the project developer, toll road operator, together with contracting authority Kenya, have discussed and agreed upon alternative exit into the CBD to be located next to the Green Park terminus on land acquired from Railway Sports Club that will allow access to Haile Selassie Avenue and Uhuru Highway. That is the place you saw with some parking up there. The construction of the CBD exit will take 8 months from issuance of approval by the contracting authority, which is expected to be communicated to the project developer by the end of this month. The expressway is very important, Madam Speaker, because it has decongested the city, making it easy for all, including visiting dignitaries, to access the city faster. The second thing about the expressway is that this is a project which is a good model of effective PPP, in that it removes demand risk for the government. We are in discussion with the National Treasury so that we can continue this conversation on how to toll out further more roads across the country. Madam Speaker, the problem we are facing now with financing roads would have been mitigated if the third administration had been bold enough to toll the southern bypass and Thika Road. Remember, when Thika Road was being constructed, the argument had been made that it's going to be tolled, and even initial infrastructure provided for tolling of the Thika Road. Since then, political leaders, including all of us, including myself, like ourselves in this house, have never been bold enough to toll the roads. The amount spent in Nairobi alone to dual roads, such as Eastern Bypass, Southern Bypass, Western Bypass, and Outer Ring Road, would have built lots of infrastructure elsewhere in the country. Thus, those who benefited from the who are benefiting from such infrastructure should contribute to the building of other roads around the country. It is my humble request to this House to work with my ministry to start a very candid discussion on tolling of the roads that are dual and have alternative passing routes for passengers, to enable us to raise funds for further construction of the roads and maintenance. Madam Speaker, as part of the answer of this question, I really hope we can be bold enough and work together as members of parliament to make sure that we toll these roads. If we had told these roads from the beginning, the amount of resources we would be having in tolling fund would have actually been maintaining and constructing more roads. That person in Lokichokyo or Lokichokyo or Loitoktok, who is, Madam Speaker, not a beneficiary of using Southern bypass. He is asking herself, why is she or he contributing to the payment of the taxes, to the loans that we took to build these roads, and yet they cannot access their county headquarters at all? The best answer would be to tell that person, that road that we have tolled in, that we have constructed in urban areas, we are tolling and collecting the money. It's going to tolling fund, and that is why we are building for you these other roads to access your county headquarters and access services. This is the only strongest justification we can have to make sure that gradually we become self-sustaining as a country in terms of managing our roads. In fact, the challenge of self-sustainability will be higher as we continue rolling out electric vehicles. In the near future, 5, 8, I don't think it will reach 10 years, the number of electric vehicles which will be in this country will be more than those which are using fossil fuel. At that point in time, we will not be having the road maintenance levy fund from the fuel. That is why we must become as innovative as possible. And my ministry will take this bold step to come with these directives to this House, and I hope that we will be supported by members of parliament so that we raise funds to take care of our roads and to build better roads going forward. I agree. Sorry, now I remember that there were supplementary questions. Let me follow with that immediately with the supplementary questions. Most of them, as I said, are almost generic, but there is a most important question that has been asked by Honorable Jane Kihara about dwelling of Rironi-Mau Summit. I believe, Madam Speaker, we will have time to discuss the dwelling of Mombasa, Nairobi, and Rironi-Mau Summit at another opportunity when I have another opportunity to come before this House and maybe to respond to also questions on the transport sector. But what I want to say, which is important, is this. We are working round the clock to discuss with the prospective investor, PPP investor, on the Mau Summit Rironi Road. Our point of contention at the moment, that is why the road is not beginning, is the transfer of traffic risk from the investor to the government of Kenya, which means that we carry the burden if we do not meet the number of the volumes of vehicles using the road to the level that the investor requires to repay the loans. The government of Kenya would have to pay for a long period of time. And we calculated the amount. It can even mean that we pay about between 15, 20 to 30 billion consistently for the next 20 years, up to 2050. That way, that would be another additional burden to our already burdened society. We have asked the investor to think through a process where this burden would not be borne by the government of Kenya. That is why you hear me, if you hear me praising the Expressway, is because that burden is not being carried by the people of Kenya. If the Expressway investor does not achieve the volumes he requires to recoup his investment, we, the people of Kenya, are not going to fill in the gap. Unfortunately for the Rironi-Mau Summit, it requires us to fill the gap. And for that reason, Madam Speaker, if we eliminate this point of contention, we will be able to build the road between Rironi and Mau Summit. Thankfully, there are other investors who are already coming in and saying, if the current investor is not ready, we are ready to invest in this road, even if it means to carry on the burden of guarantee, not requiring government to guarantee the volumes. And this conversation is important because then it means Kenya is an important destiny when it comes to investors and investments, particularly of PPP nature. And we want to thank our investors in this sector, particularly in the road sector, for making this possible. The rest of the questions that have been asked by honorable members, Honorable Karemba has asked a very important question about police officers. I will still come back to Honorable Jane about the road she had asked and security question. Madam Speaker, yes, we require citizen responsibility. And I need to continue emphasizing that you cannot just board a vehicle. You can see outrightly the driver is drunk and you do nothing about it, and you are 14 people against one driver. There can be no greater abdication of responsibility than that you take the risk to be driven by a drunk driver from Eldoret to Nairobi and to wait for the Minister of Transport to answer in Parliament why you allowed a drunk driver. When we as citizens can take the bold step of alighting from the vehicle and asking the company of that vehicle to provide another driver or another vehicle that can carry people for safely. We cannot continue being in the same bus. I saw some Kenyans sending to me pictures of a driver who is, they're taking the pictures, they are sitting inside the bus, the driver is chewing sugar cane, Madam Speaker, and leaving, abdicating his responsibility as a driver, removing his hands off the steering wheel. The only thing that those citizens who are sitting inside their bus succeeded to do was to take pictures so that they can take to social media and ask the minister, what are you doing about this driver who is chewing a sugar cane, Madam Speaker, and abdicating his responsibility. While we know they would have taken the responsibility directly of stopping that driver from doing what he was doing. We cannot be helpless when it comes to our own lives. The driver is overtaking vehicles. He has overtaken vehicles in Salga. He has come to Nakuru, overtaken vehicles. He has come to Gilgil, he's done the same, recklessly. But you are inside cheering, telling drivers, do it faster, we must be in Nairobi as fast as possible. Abdicating your responsibility to know that you must be carried safely. If it starts with us, it will become even easy for us to be able to deal with the question of this. However, there is a responsibility for the police. We know that bribery is, we can take judicial notice that this is a menace that we have been unable to eradicate in our roads. What is the ministry doing? We are gradually replacing human monitoring of the roads with technology. That is why I said the black spots, including near the bridge, will in the next 2-3 months have a camera in the piloting stage, so that all of us can be able to monitor the vehicles as they pass through there, and slowly by slowly, we will not need to have a police officer having to man all the roads. Slowly by slowly, from a command center using technology, we'll be able to catch those who are misusing, committing traffic offenses. On the question of Undanyi, it is true that we had a problem, and the honorable member has requested that we increase the barrier height and make sure that it's a wall. We will take note of your statement. By the time we meet with Taita Taveta, we should be able to discuss together about what audit plans we did at the black spot there, and put in place mechanism for improving those black spots. The good thing with Kenya is that in the highways, they have been auditing every black spot. As it happens, the statistics are given by NTSA, and Kenya have been able to decide whether to put bumps or to make sure that we are building guardrails and improve the signage and so forth. That is what we will try to do, even as we work on the other mechanisms. To my friend Honorable Morris Kakai Bissau, on the question of Trans Nzoia, it is true that we have a big problem in Trans Nzoia. It is actually a paradox that until the Jubilee administration came to place in 2013, Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu, being the bread basket of our country, especially the inlands inside the counties, were completely ignored. A lot has been done, but a lot needs to be done. I appreciate that Kiminini is one of those marginalized, and many people in the country will never believe If you say Kiminini is marginalized from road network, and we are working around the clock to make sure that we rectify this issue. Unfortunately, to start new projects, we can't use GOK funds at the moment. But as I said, every time we have plans with our development partners and they're willing to support us with fairly good concessional loans, or we will be able to support those programs. But also, we must design and plan for the time that the resources will be in place, so that then in the fullness of time we'll be able to do so. Again, the day we meet with you as a Trans Nzoia team, we should be able to address these issues. On the question of motorcycles, Kitale was a renowned town in western part of the country when it used to be, when border were bicycles. We all know that now that has been taken over by motorcycle, and that is a menace across the country. Unfortunately, motorcycles cannot have their route. They enjoy the service of using the same road because they are motor vehicles. Motorcycles, they use the same road with the other vehicles. Unfortunately, we use motorcycles or border, as we all know,
Honorable CS,
in highways.
we are getting to a close.
Okay.
We are past our time, so I would ask that you kindly wind up.
Okay, yeah. I will gladly wind up, Madam Chair, by saying that these border vehicles should not be used in highways. We shouldn't be able to see them, you know, in Kitale Bungoma Road or Kitale Eldoret Road, but they are there. And we must work with the reality that they are there. And we are working on the mechanism of regulation. In the statements I made earlier, you saw that I didn't focus on the border side. We are coming back with those regulations as a result of the same. On the road, Honorable Jane Kiara has mentioned, again, this Maela Road is a big issue. I believe that we have had discussion with the Honorable Member and the leaders of Nakuru. As promised, we are going to do everything possible to ensure that we look for the resources for the same. Honorable Koskei has raised an important issue about NMT and persons with disabilities. Again, we will do the same. I don't think classifying a road, to answer Honorable Jane Kiara, as security will change anything, because the Minister of Interior doesn't have money to put it differently. So it just still comes back to us. Let's just find a way of doing the road. It might even be better to do it as an important road for agriculture and economic activity, including the Kenyan projects that are going on play and GDC projects. Airport access ramps, I agree with Honorable Koskei, will continue with the same. And for Honorable CNN, we promise to maintain the road as it awaits the resources for improvement to bitumen standards. I want to say that for Honorable Gideon of Mwingi Central, again, your question was supplementary, further improvement of the remaining part of the roads. I think the best answer to tell you is we will have to work on the resources to do so. At least for the record, we have provided a substantive part of the answer. The funds, of course, permitting, we can address the other issues. But as I said, our doors are open. We haven't met Kitui leadership. When we sit down as Kitui as well, we should be able to thrash out some of these issues.